Hello everyone, this is Elbert. Today I'm going to do a deck tech for Terraformars. This was a deck I played during the European Grand Prix, both in the Italy qualifier, the France/Chance qualifier, and the Europe Continentals. While I did not win, I think I did some fairly good results with the deck. I was first seed in both Italy and France, going 6-0 during Swiss rounds in France, and 7-0 during Swiss rounds in Italy. In France, sorry. So 6-0 in Italy, 7-0 in France. For the whole tournament, I won 15 matches and lost 4, which I think is a pretty good ratio. A lot of people seem to be surprised by Terraformars actually topping. I think the set is kind of underplayed, especially the yellow-red build, but it's really strong. And today I'm going to do this small video to show you guys what my build is like, and maybe this will inspire you to play Terraformars. So I'm starting at level 0 with the beaters. So 3 of those Akari level 0 reversers comes into play, can rest one of your opponent characters. This is hardly ever relevant, except maybe against Charlotte for the 4k5 counter. It's still pretty good, and it has Akari in the name, so that's one reason to play them. I'll explain why later. The other is another Akari, 4 of those. So during the opponent's turn, if he has 3 or less characters, it's a 4k level 1 card, so it's kind of similar to the Log Horizon one, except this one gains 1 level. It's really good to wall against the opponent at level 0, especially because you can still play counter behind him, so I think it's better than the yellow Loner that's in Terraformars. And once again, it got Akari in its name, so this is kind of relevant as well. As for support, so 3 Eva. Eva gives plus 500 in front and can pay 2 Rester and search for character. It's quite good, it's in the right colors, nothing much to say here. For more utility, so we have the Seekers. The Trial Deck Seekers comes into play, pay 1, discard 1, search for bugs or a modified character. Now, these are quite good in this build, mostly due to the synergy with Joseph. There are some other Seekers in the deck, I'm going to go a bit over them later, but this is quite solid overall, and I think this is what the deck needs most. 2 Akari Bonds. So this is a remnant from my old build when I used to play 4 of the Bond target, which is the level 1 trap. This one. I think 2 is a bit, maybe it's 1 too much, but I still think it's the best kind of way to get advantage. It's a bond to a costless card, so probably the best way to spend 1 stock at the beginning of the game. I tend to trigger a lot with this deck for some reason, so yeah, this is a good stock outlet. The second ability is not that relevant. When one of my Michel got his front attacked, I can kill this card and give plus 1k. It's not really synergistic with the trap, for obvious reason, but it can sometimes be useful. One of these, so this is a bond for the event. Once again, I tend to trigger a lot, so I just like having a way to make plus 1 just with 1 card at level 0. And on attack, gives plus 1 level and plus 1k to a character, which is decent. And yeah, lots of one-off in this deck. This is the Brainstorm. This is the only plussing Brainstorm in Terraformars, but he's really good. So KG is a clock swap Brainstorm, so pay 1, rest him, mill 4 for every climax, take 1 card from the clock and add it to your hand, clock 1. And when he or any kind of characters or modified characters comes into play, you can top check the card of your deck. You can't move it around, you can't put it in bottom or in waiting room, that would be quite broken, but it's still like really good information on the first trigger for all of your attacks. So I really like this card. I'm just going to talk quickly about the cards I'm not running at level 0 because I think it's also interesting. In terms of beaters, this card is really good, so it's the runner. Mill 1, if it's a modified character, can move to an empty space on the front row. It's really good, and I used to run it, and with pretty good success. Now the thing is, I actually run 3 events in my deck, so with the 8 climax, that's 11 cards that won't allow me to run. And also it's green, and I'm already playing a lot of non-relevant colors at level 0, so I can't really afford to play this one. 0/0 3k5 Komachi comes into play mill 2 if there is a climax he rests, and character and call. This is also quite decent, but this is especially decent with the Joseph early summon. But I think the drawback is a bit annoying when you are already have something in your back row. And yeah, it's blue, so once again, it's not my main color, so I'd rather not play this one. And this is the other Seeker I'm playing. I did used to play. So it's basically on reverse, pay 1, send it to memory, discard 1, and go to search for 1. It's quite good, but once again, I'd rather have something that allows me to discard immediately a card, rather than have to wait to be reversed or whatever. But I still think these 3 cards are like really good by itself and can easily enter the build. It's just mostly for color and playstyle issue that I'm not playing there. Level 1 is mostly centered around this card, so Eva. Of course, I ran 4 of her. I think she's the main reason to play yellow in Terraformars. She's a climax combo with +2k1, so desire or something. On reverse, pay 1, kill 1 of your characters, and you can search your deck for up to 1 level 3 Adolf and any other modified characters. So it's a +2. +2 in hand, and yeah, and if you build the level 1 correctly, it can be very synergistic. I'm going to explain why now. But yeah, this card is like really strong. And even though +2k1 is double trigger and is not that great of a climax, I still think +2 in hand is way too strong. The reason it's especially strong in today's meta is that you only really need 1 target to get the deck going. People now are afraid of like triple Shimakaze, triple Mikan, triple what's her name from Cinderella Girls, Anastasia. Well, yeah, you're never going to go triple Eva, but only once is enough, and I think this card is like really strong for this reason. This is 1/1, 500 for every other character during your turn, and Cock and Core. I use not to run this one because I think Terraformars kind of needs a lot of stock at level 2, but it's still really good. Let's say you are level 0-6 and you are only have 1 color at level 1. This is like a really good setup. I mean, him and Eva. Because you can kill him, then clock and core him, it's basically you can search 2 characters for 1 stock, clock 1, which is very strong. He's overall also a very decent beater. He's quite good in the matchups where the opponent plays stuff like Rider or the green-red Terraformars, because the main play also is the trap. So level 1 trap can't stand if you don't have an Akari. So that's why some of the Akaris are kind of relevant. That's also why the counter ability of this Akari is quite bad, because even if you save your card, she probably won't be able to restand next turn. But it mostly works once again pretty well with Eva from something. She dies because the reverse effect, and then with Eva, kill pay 1 and search for 2. So these 2 cards, I used to run 4 of those. But I had some difficulties when I was 1-0 with only 1 color, so that's why I'm splitting between 2 now. But yeah, it's really good, really takes care of a lot of annoying level 1, and yeah, it's bondable, it's costless bondable, so I think it's like a really strong card. So these 2 together works really well, and work really well. Like I said, the main focus of the deck at level 1 is the Eva climax combo, so yeah, it's really important to make the deck work around her that. As far as level 1 utility, we have Alex. So global 500, and Brainstorm, it's similar to the ray gun one, pay 1 for every climax. You can choose a cost 0 from the front row and send it to the waiting room. It's really good against annoying on reverse type of effect, mostly thinking of stuff like in Dakapo or, well, most importantly the anti-burn from Charlotte. Plus 500 global is also quite cool. I think 1 is enough though, not always useful. And 1-1-0 counter, so it's basically like a 2k counter. There's actually, so it's not that useful at level 1, there's nothing you really need to protect. It's much better at level 2. I'll explain why now. So level 2 I don't have that many cards, but so we have the events, where is it? Oh boy. Okay. So 3 events. So this event is similar to the one you can find in Persona or even in Madoka with the Omura early summon. This one is a bit more specific now. You have to discard an Akari card, and you can bring back the level 3 Akari from your waiting room to the field. So 90% of the time you discard the Akari level 3 and put it there. A lot of people don't like this card because you go -1, but I think this is easily made up by the climax combo from Akari. I'm going there soon. And yeah, so this is the bond target for the other bonder. It's not that necessary, but it's quite good. And it's level 2, so it works quite well with the Musashi Burn. Another level 2 I have is the level assist. Really messed that up. So 500 times the level in front. And the other effect is quite nice. At the end of your turn, after the encore step, you choose one of the opponent's character and he can't move during its turn. He can still attack or stand or be arrested for whatever brainstorm or something, but he can't move. And this works really well against the encore, because sometimes you will have like an Akari you would early summon, and the guy in front will just like, let's say it's girlfriend beta will encore, and you can just lock him in space. So he won't be able to move to another position, which is like quite great, because then he's forced to either crash into Akari or just dies inside or do whatever. But it's kind of alright. It also works well against stuff like Restander. Let's say you survive a Marika, then you can lock the Marika in one place and just, you know, crash into her and make her unable to restand, which I think is quite good. As far as level 2 goes, another card I'm not running but I think can easily be run is Discounter, so I'd rather run the green one, but so it's basically 2k5 counter on play, pay 1 stock more, and get it back to hand. So basically it's like pay 2, give plus 2k5 to a character. The reason I'm running this one over it is usually the only thing worth protecting at level 2 are the early summons, so the Akari or the Joseph. I'm going to the Joseph next. So this means you already like spend a lot of stock. So I'd rather have something that's just 5k less, but is free, rather than between 1 or 2 stocks. Even though you still gain hand with this, I still think this is most like, it's really better if you need the stock, and you usually need the stock at level 2. Now next is Joseph, so type 4 of course. So Joseph is an early summon. If you have 2 of him in your waiting room, he loses a level in hand. It does require some kind of setups to be played efficiently. I think the best way is basically to clock 2 of them during your level 1 and try to refresh it to level 1. This is probably the best play. Other than that, he heals on play, which is kind of a big deal at level 2. And most importantly, if all of characters are modified, which is always going to be the case, even if he's allowed, is plus 1k5, and it can't be targeted. So basically no anti-change, no wings, no tap counters. I think in the current meta with the Darkness Plan and tap counter from Cinderella, it can also work as a semi-functional finisher. But it really shines as an early summon, and it does require some play to be quite effective, but I still think it's like really good, and is the reason why I'm running the level 0 trial deck searcher, because you can basically like ditch Joseph into your waiting room, search for another one, and like if you already have 2, then you can play them. So this card works pretty well together. So level 3, this is the Akari early summon I was mentioning earlier. I don't know where the 4th one is, but of course you get 4 of those. It's a really good card. There is. Really good card. Heals into play. He has one downside. If he gets reverse and you only have 1 other character, you have to clock 1. This won't probably happen ever. The only case it can happen is with wins or clock kick, maybe, but that's not really going to happen a lot. And he has a climax combo with the gate, so the gate is the other climax. On attack, pay 1, burn 1, salvage 1. So it's quite good. This makes up for the fact that you go minus from the early summon, because if you have the Akari, the climax in hand, even though you lost 1 card with the early summon, you can kind of make up for it with the climax combo with quality. It also helps with stock filtering. So yeah, the card is really good. Pretty good finisher, heals, so everything you need on 1 card. And finally, Adolf. So this is the target for the level 1 combo with Eva and Desire. So you can search for one of these guys. Adolf has the Musashi burn, so when he attacks, the damage is cancelled, mill the top card of your deck and burn for the level of the card +1. Whoops. And his other gimmick is quite nice, is when the opponent cancels the damage, he gets +2k. And of course this also works with the Punish Burn, which means he can get up to +4k, and it's before, the opponent has to counter before getting the damage. That means like sometimes the opponent will try to counter, and you just get +4k out of nowhere, and the guy just wasted one counter. So yeah, pretty good finisher, pretty good beater, and yeah, you can. I don't think it's necessary in most decks to run 4 Musashi, but because he's the target of Eva, he's like really useful in this kind of situation. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. So the climax spread, as I've said, is 4 gates and 4 + 2k1. I think the deck is really strong right now. It has good finishers, it has early heals, and it has a really potent advantage engine at level 1. So I think Terraformars is definitely one of the most stable deck right now. I mean, I wouldn't have won that much if the deck wasn't stable. So hopefully more people will try this build. I think a lot of Terraformars players tend to prefer the green-red build, the power deck. I like this one better because you get way more selective pluses, you still have really good finishers. So overall, the deck is definitely not a S tier because it doesn't have any access to anything broken. It doesn't have any kind of anti-damage or anti-heal, anti-salvage or whatever the good decks have. But I still think it's one of the most solid decks around now, and I really hope more people will play this deck in the future. So yep, this was my deck video, and thank you for listening.